District Attorney Sandra Dorling, Sheriff Todd Baxter. My name is Chris Rochester. I live in Rochester, New York. I'm an innocent man. This is your payroll. It has 3 names on it. I'm going to talk about all 3. Shannon Meyer, $83,291.42, who you gave a $16,000 raise to, for writing a warrant for my arrest for a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times. Am I Sheriff Baxter, New York's 4,000-time criminal, for a warrant for my arrest for walking through this parking lot that my neighbors walk through, that Penfield High School students walk through? Where's my 14th Amendment right to equal protection laws? You gave this nauseating, disgusting hack a $16,000 raise for writing a warrant for my arrest for walking through a parking lot I've walked through 4,000 times? Are you confused why I accurately state that you, Sheriff Baxter, are corrupt? You love to surround yourself with Jonestown Kool-Aid drinking fanatics like this Shannon Meyer, and then you give her a $16,000 raise. She smashes my civil and constitutional rights into a million little pieces. Just like Michael C. Houlihan, who you pay $73,312.85. Now pay attention, Michelle Crowley, director of the grand jury. Michael C. Houlihan and $85,000 Don Benedetto walked onto the private property of my 72-year-old neighbor when I exited my residence 2 years ago at midnight. Benedetto and Houlihan come running at me. I never stopped running once I turned around and ran away from $73,312.85 Michael C. Houlihan. I never stopped running. When I get to the back porch, there's a hammer alongside my back porch. Think about the best possible lie, Michael C. Houlihan. I already know what your lie is. Michelle Crowley, if in fact you even know what I'm talking about. Doesn't matter what happened before I get to the back porch. What matters is what happens when my foot goes onto the back porch. That's what matters. Everything else before that is bullshit. Do you understand me? Michelle Crowley, Michael C. Houlihan, and Sandra Dorling and Todd Baxter? I run alongside my residence with Michael C. Houlihan and Don Benedetto running at me. I grab a hammer alongside my bike. As I go up the back porch, I place my foot on the first of 3 steps. Michael C. Houlihan grabs my arm. The hammer goes up. I continue to run across the back porch. I run through the sliding glass door. I never stop running. What crime did I commit? Michael C. Houlihan went to the district attorney's office, and this is the concoction of attempted felony assault by Michael C. Houlihan. And you, Michelle Crowley, convened the grand jury that I don't know is convened. And Michael C. Houlihan, in the grand jury, when he states that I swung a hammer at him, commits perjury. Do you understand what I just said to you, Michelle Crowley? And how come you didn't, 1, call me for an interview about this night when Psychopaths Are Incorporated on private property, my 72-year-old neighbor, and 2, how come I didn't testify before the grand jury that you're targeting me with? 3, how many grand jurors are there? Is it 18 to 24? And 4, is there a transcript? I'm going to write all this down. I'm going to use the Freedom of Information Law upon you, Michelle Crowley, and you're going to refuse to provide me with all those answers. Does it take a majority vote to be indicted? Quote, you can indict a ham sandwich. This phrase is so famous that Tom Wolfe used it in his book, The Bonfire of the Vanities. It has a use in the 1979 Democrat Chronicle, too. You can indict a ham sandwich is so familiar to Americans because of fanatical, degenerate, corrupt prosecutors. And you, Michelle Crowley, are a fanatical, degenerate, corrupt prosecutor. If a distinguished American, like former Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger, can be indicted, anybody can be indicted. Because all it takes is a fanatical prosecutor. And perhaps you've heard of the fanatical prosecutor in the United States of America. I'm going to read his Wikipedia. And Wikipedia is not always accurate, but this is just the first graph. Mike Nifong. Michael Byron Nifong, September 14th, 1950, is an American former attorney and convicted criminal. He served as his district attorney for Durham County, North Carolina, until he was removed to Spartan jail following court findings concerning his conduct in the Duke lacrosse case, primarily his conspiring with the DNA lab director to withhold exculpatory DNA evidence that could have acquitted the defendants. This is the nightmare prosecutor for every American. He is so known. Mike Nifong, for what he did to these students on the Duke University lacrosse team. I had a friend of mine when I worked in Albany for Majority Leading Governor, who was a graduate of Duke University, who lives in California now. And she was telling me about her opinions about this and about alumni of Duke and what they think about this Mike Nifong here. You, Sandra Dorley, are the Mike Nifong of Monroe County, and you will never know it. You will never know you're corrupt. Sandra Dorley. Michael C. Houlihan perjured himself to your grand jury, Michelle Crowley, when he stated I swung a hammer at him. Did you ask Michael C. Houlihan, this revolting, sick degenerate, and or Don Benedetto, what they're doing on the private property of my neighbor? Because I know why. And I'm not going to say it. You tell me why. I believe I know why. Do you know why Michael C. Houlihan and Don Benedetto are stalking me outside my residence at midnight 2 years ago? You don't know anything, Michelle Crowley, because you don't want to know anything. Why didn't you call me to the grand jury, Michelle Crowley? So, now, does a prosecutor talk in court, Michelle Crowley? Have you been in court? This is the corruption of your boss. On December 16th, I'm using the Freedom of Information Law to force your boss, the District Attorney Sandra Dorley, to disclose my prosecutor's silence. And she's refused every time. How am I in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? How am I in jail 6 times when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? This is the corruption of you, Sandra Dorley. And all you hacks at the District Attorney's office will never know why your boss is corrupt. I'm going to tell you right now. This is on December 16th. The FOIL. The documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester before John P. Lorenzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Dorley? Total silence. Is this Julie Hahn, who's now in Monroe County Court? This is for criminal contempt second and harassment second, where I walked outside one day and told Steve Desmond of Broccoli Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns the land next to my residence. You know that that's not a crime at the District Attorney's and Sheriff's Office where your employee, I hope you can see this with the phone. There's the land. I called Timothy Murphy of the Monroe County Office of Real Property Tax Service, this land here. He can't confirm anybody owns this land, which I already know. Because the people who are demanding I be arrested for walking through this parking lot, Nayraj Shah and Layla Kumar Shah, a 50-year-old man who lives next to a 7-year-old mother, approached Shannon Meyer. She wants to arrest me. This is how she thinks I've committed a crime when I'm an innocent man. I've been an innocent man my whole life. Shannon Meyer, who you gave a $15,000 raise to, Todd Baxter, tells a civilian, Steve Desmond of Broccoli Tree and Lawn Care, ride your tractor by the residence of Chris Chichester. And if he comes outside, call us and we're going to be there to arrest him. That's not a crime, Todd Baxter. And this is where I used to live. And this is the parking lot that all 36,000 people of Penfield, New York could walk through without a warrant for arrest, except for me. All 17 million New Yorkers could walk through this parking lot without a warrant for arrest because of me. So I walk outside, I stand right here. I say, nobody owns that land. I'm right here on this concrete. Why do you think I know my right arm is moving, Todd Baxter? I'm going to show you momentarily, and you'll still lie about it. You cannot control your sick compulsion to lie, Todd Baxter. Todd Baxter, do you know it's not a crime for me to walk outside, stand right here on this concrete, and tell Steve Desmond, Broccoli Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns the land next to my residence? And this is also what this sick hack is doing. They're not cutting grass that day. His job is to ride the tractor by my residence and get me to come out of the house, which I said to Desmond. And which I said to the old man. The old man is on the tractor. His name I don't know. And Desmond is next to him. Desmond's got his phone in his hand. There's the old man on his tractor. Meyer's waiting for his phone call. And this is what your psychopath is doing when there's real crime in Monroe County. You degenerate Todd Baxter doesn't know if he's a Democrat or Republican. Todd Baxter, look at my face. Do you know it's not a crime for me to walk outside, stand right here, and tell Steve Debs and Brock Coltrane Lawn Care nobody owns the land next to my residence? Do you know that's not a crime? Todd Baxter, Sheriff of Monroe County. And the answer is no. And hide behind that blue wall of silence, you skinhead, stooge, and party switcher. So, now, Shannon Meyer runs into my residence, alongside my residence, falls down on my backyard dirt. There was your hack that you gave a $15,000 raise to, laying in my backyard dirt. After Desmond calls her and 6 of your fanatics are there. This is pounding on my door that I'm out and out familiar with. Your psychopaths don't knock or ring the doorbell in a civil way. I open up the door and say, what's the problem? That's where you hear the first line from Jonestown. We want to talk to you outside. I walk outside. Meyer Ryan runs around to the front. She got dirt on her face. She got dirt on her uniform. This hyperventilating freak is right in front of me. I walk over to my front lawn, and then the Monroe County Sheriff Office employee says to me, show us where you were standing. I'm thinking, this is not going to be good for me. I walk across my lawn. Your psychopaths are surrounding me. I get to this area here where I was just standing next to this grass, and I'm surrounded and the handcuffs go on. Do you know, Todd Baxter, that it's not a crime for me to walk outside and tell Steve Desmond, a Brock Coltrane Lawn Care, and the man on his tractor it's not a crime? Because even if there is ownership of this land, which there isn't, it's not a crime. That's not a crime anywhere in the United States of America, except in the sick, diseased mind of Shannon Meyer, who gave a $15,000 pay raise from $67,000 to $82,000. Do you understand what I'm talking about, you skinhead, stooge, and party switcher, Todd Baxter? The answer is no, because you're a freak. So, documentation for the case for Christopher Childs just before John P. Lorenzo Jr. in Penfield. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandro? That's how I'm charged with criminal attempt second. Well, I haven't committed that crime. I go to a gym called PW Fitness. I'm on the bench press. Up walks to me Jermaine L. Beman. He motions with a hand like this. I say, I'll be 30 seconds. Beman stands over me, punches down my head, snaps back violently. Who did I just harass, Todd Baxter? Who did I just harass, Sandra Dorley? Who did I just harass, Alex Renzi? Who did I just harass, Paul C. Metzer? Who did I harass, John P. Lorenzo Jr.? Who did I harass, James C. Melly Jr.? My head's being snapped back and being violently attacked at the gym. Andrew Reale arrives when a witness calls the sheriff's office. He looks at me. Andrew Reale is going to put the screws to me. He says, let's go outside. I go outside with Jermaine Lamar Benman. I'm sitting in the back seat of Andrew Reale's police vehicle. This is why people hate the cops, you skinhead, stooge, and party switcher. Andrew Reale was now paid $82,000. I'm in the back seat, Todd Baxter. I'm in the back seat, Sandra Dorley. I'm in the back seat, John P. Lorenzo Jr. Jermaine Benman walks around to the side of the vehicle, and he says, I want to press charges against you, and with those 7 words, I'm charged with harassment second. This is why people hate the cops, you skinhead, stooge, and party switcher. Todd Baxter, hypothetically, any citizen guilty of harassment second, there's a victim. There is a human being that person is harassing. Who did I harass? I didn't harass anyone. You will never know why you're corrupt. I just told you why you're corrupt. Because of Michael C. Houlihan and his $73,000 salary. Because Shannon Meyer and her $82,000 salary. Because of Andrew Allen and his $82,000 salary. You will never know why you're corrupt, Todd Baxter. You will never know why you corrupt Sandra Dorley. So, I have to appear before John P. Lorenzo Jr. for criminal attempt second or harassment second. I appear in Penfield Court. I look over to my left, the prosecutor. I'm thinking, as soon as she starts to talk, I'll interrupt her if she accuses me of crime. I do not have representation. I don't even know the Monroe County Public Defender's Office exists. If someone would have said to me, when I walked into Penfield Town Court to appear for John P. Lorenzo Jr., is there a public defender in Monroe County? I would say, I don't know, because there's no reason ever for me to be in a courtroom. I've been in a courtroom twice for a speeding ticket in Washington, D.C., speeding ticket in Albany, New York, dismissed both times, where I didn't appear in front of a judge. I just went outside the courtroom, and my attorney took care of it, who was a friend of a friend. It was that simple for a speeding ticket. What do you think it says about a life at 50 years old with 2 speeding tickets? Doesn't matter to you. And that's another thing about these disgusting star chambers, these courts that I've been in. How you live your life prior to a court appearance to have to answer a criminal charge, however concocted, is totally irrelevant how a citizen lives his life. So, John P. Lomenzo Jr., I'm not committing harassment second. I didn't harass anyone when I'm violently attacked. It's not a crime for me to walk outside and tell Steve Desmond, Brock Tree, and Lawn Care nobody owns the land next to my reds. Is this Houlihan? Perry Duckles, eject yourself from corruption and hatred and tell me if this is Houlihan, because I'm going to contact her directly. Where's the ethics and the decency and the morality of her? When she knows she doesn't talk, and I think I'm going home, and this is also what happened. I take a step away from this little podium where I don't have a public defender. And Andrew Reale approaches me and said, put your hands behind your back. This is when I now know I'm going to jail. And I took a step back and really in shock. And another Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee is behind me. He puts his hands on my shoulders. I'm driven down to the ground. I'm on my knees in Penfield Town Court. And I did something I have not done for 40 years. I screamed. You're violating my rights. Freedom of Information Law sent on December 16th. The documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester where Paul C. Metz from Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sands Dorley? This is the 5'2" three-piece suit boy that Regina Harper, the public defender's office, said to me, quote, the prosecutor's not backing down. Well, what's the name of the prosecutor that's not backing down? I don't even know the concocted fiction for her. I think I know, but I don't want to state it because I could be inaccurate, and I always strive for accuracy. But you tell me, Paul C. Metzer, why am I in front of you as one person? And I'm not going to be in Monroe County Jail. I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, and this is what happened. This is how in front of this hack the first time. I walk into the Penfield Public Library. I said this on YouTube yesterday. I have to look at the payroll here. Let's make sure I have his name right. Richard J. Siebert. A violent fanatic. So, this is how I appear before Paul C. Metzer. I'll continue to hold this up. Richard J. Siebert, $74,000. Walks into the Penfield Public Library because I'm being stalked by Richard J. Siebert and another Jonestown Kool-Aid drinker from the sheriff's office. I stand up at the computer. Richard J. Siebert runs at me, clotheslines me, slammed his arm at the side of my head. I fell backwards onto the floor of the Penfield Public Library. That's a hard ceramic tile. My head hit the ceramic tile floor. This is Richard J. Siebert, who I filed criminal charges, assault charges against, violently attacking me at Penfield Public Library, where I hope there are witnesses that will remember this. And I don't know yet because I have not contacted the library. The handcuffs are placed on me. I'm taken down the hallway, and there's $28,000 skinhead widow, Paul C. Metzer, waiting for me. She declares me guilty of something I still don't know. And then I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. When I arrive at Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, I have to disrobe, and I've done this more than 50 times, for the penis inspection. We're there for the 50th or so time. I have a sheriff's office employee, either at Livingston County Jail or Monroe County Jail, staring at my dick. This happens every single time I'm in jail with the penis inspection. So, there I am at Livingston County Jail. I said, what am I doing here? And a female employee at Livingston County Jail said to me, you have to be here because you would not be safe at Monroe County Jail for what you did on YouTube. I think those were her words. And she wasn't specific. But what I did on YouTube is read your salaries at the time. You all know what you're paid at your repulsive Jonestown Kool-Aid drinking fascist organization that's the Monroe County Sheriff's Office because of me. I've had Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees come up to me when I was in jail and tell me that they knew what their coworkers at college were paid because of me. I saw you on YouTube. This is what I would hear, not frequently, but every once in a while. And a prosecutor didn't talk when I'm delivered to Livingston County Jail when Richard J. Siebert finally attacked me. Sandra Dorley, do you know that Paul C. Metzler, this revolting skinhead $28,000 widow, is convening Penfield Town Court, and I'm being violently attacked by Richard J. Siebert, and there's nobody from the district attorney's office. Two people decided I'm at Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. Psychopath $74,000 Richard J. Siebert and psychopath $28,000 skinhead widow Paul C. Metzer. Where's my due process? Where's my civil and constitutional rights? You smashed them into a million little pieces. at the district attorney's office, sheriff's office. I have a prosecutor assigned to me for my appearance before Paul C. Metzler, who's not present, or perhaps doesn't even know that I'm in court. I have to have a prosecutor assigned to every single court appearance. This is what I can tell the United States Department of Justice, how you're refusing to disclose the names of my prosecutors. Freedom of information law. Again, documentation for the case of Christopher Child, for Paul C. Metzler, Penfield Court. What's the name of the prosecutor? One of them is the 5'2" and 3-piece suit boy, and I'll seek his disbarment with the attorney to grievance committee on East Avenue. But you first have to disclose the names of my prosecutors in a public proceeding. And you're refusing every time. December 16th. This goes back 18 months I've been demanding this. Freedom of information law. Documentation of the case of Christopher Child, to the New York State Supreme Court for Alex R. Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandroy? Again, the corruption. You're making decisions about my life. I don't know. I have no information, no knowledge about anything. How did I appear in front of the supervising judge? There are 18 over there at New York State Supreme Court on 99 Exchange, the hackocracy. And he is the hack. Who decided I'm going to appear in front of Alex Renzi? You're making decisions about citizens in Monroe County to destroy those lives of citizens, and citizens like me have no idea about what you're doing. I did not know a citizen in the state of New York could be delivered to jail when a prosecutor does not talk in court. If somebody would ask me, can you be delivered to jail without a jury verdict? I'd have to pause and think about it, because I do know that a bench trial exists, which is not a trial. A bench trial is in 1984, just appearing before one judge, and they determine guilt or innocence. And for me, it's always guilt when I've never committed a crime. So right here, again, I'm telling you, I have prosecutors before John P. Lomenzo Jr., before Paul C. Metzler, before Alex Renzi, and you're refusing every single time to disclose their names because you corrupted the district attorney's office. I wrote to you directly, Perry Duckles. I believe I have it here. I'm going to have to, sometimes I try to keep all my documentation here and where I can get to it quickly. And yes, I can get to this quickly. Perry Duckles, language requires precision. You are corrupt. This is why. I'll read this here. This is on January 1, 2023. Perry Duckles, District Attorney, 47 South Fitzhugh, Rochester, on 14604. Attached to PDF is a 61-page Freedom of Information Law document dated December 2022 that arrived in your office via UPS. This documentation also arrived on December 22nd, 2022 and December 26th, 2022 via UPS. It was tracked. You have it. Print each, bring it to your corrupt boss, District Attorney Sandroy. Tell us pathetic accumulation of health afflictions. Send the information to my UPS address listed below. It includes the names of my prosecutor's silence. What's not to understand? I've demanded the names of my prosecutor's silence for 18 months. I'll be in court again because your fellow psychopaths know it takes only one corrupt judge, such as Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Metzler, Little Penfield Town Court, to declare me guilty of criminal charges you concoct. A prosecutor's never talked to court for me, yet I've been in jail 6 times. This is fanaticism and hatred at your office that deserves the attention of the United States Department of Justice. You received the same FOIL documentation dated January 1, 2023, January 3, 2023, that compels you to disclose the names of my prosecutor's silence. You will continue to refuse a craven silence, and that's correct. You are predictable at the district attorney's office, Perry Duckles, and all you other hacks, because corruption is predictable. I have prosecutors disclose their names to me. 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. It's right here. I'll say this again for you, and you'll still refuse, Perry Duckles. You and your $144,000 salary. Eject yourself from fanaticism, extremism, corruption, and hatred, Perry Duckles, and tell me the names of my prosecutors. Christopher Chichester, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. Perry Duckles, tell the Mike Nifong of Monroe County what I'm demanding, who is Sam Dorley. Todd Baxter, how's it a crime to walk through that parking lot? How? You will have to say this is a crime. You not only didn't fire this revolting hack, $67,000 Shannon Meyer, you increased her salary by $15,000. Todd Baxter, your employees would drive over to my residence, and they would be in their vehicles right outside my residence. Do you know that, Todd Baxter? Because here's one of them right here. I go to the sink. There's no reason for a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee to be right outside my vehicle. Excuse me. His vehicle will be right outside my window. And I have other photos too. Like, here's your employee again. The foliage is different. Right outside my window. Why? I will never know. And I'm not going to guess. But they were never there prior to me being on YouTube. Prior to this insane destruction of my life by $82,000, Shannon Meyer. And here they are at Wegmans. I'm walking into Gold's Gym at Fairport, and here comes your psychopath right by me. Tell your employees to stay away from 2157 Penfield Road, which is a private business. I would walk to Gold's Gym at Fairport and see them there every day, and that's how I took what I call the money shot. It was such a joke and a buffoon, and that's it right there. I'm going to hold up the color photo. What is that called, Pal Baxter? Because you'll lie about it. What am I holding up there? I was on it. I'm on a camera called a surveillance device because it's $67,000 freak Shannon Meyer, who was paid $67,000 when I took this photo. Today, she's paid $83,000. Todd Baxter, again, is this private technology 2025 Penfield Road, or did you buy it and fix it for me? You're calling Lindsay Barron of the Monroe County Office of Mental Health to come to my residence while I'm calling this device accurately a surveillance device that Regina Harper of the Monroe County Public Defender sent me the links, and I'm watching myself on it. Are you confused why I accurately describe you, Todd Baxter, doesn't know if he's a Democrat or Republican, as corrupt? You will never know why you're corrupt. I'm showing you right here. Todd Baxter, again, I repeat things for you, for your skinhead mind, for your diseased brain, you disgusting, sickening fascist. Is this private technology 2025 Penfield Road? Or did you buy it and fix it for me with taxpayer dollars from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Hide behind that blue wall of silence. You know, Todd, I'm going to look at my phone here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to click on here because, I have a Twitter account. And I went to Twitter to see what you're tweeting about. Because you're there because you're a veteran and you have this ridiculous shot of you. Here it is right here. I think I've been blocked. But here you are right here where it says, Todd Baxter, you got this profile photo here. We have your weapon in your hand. And you're staring off into the distance. But I'm going to click on here and I think, yes, this is what I'm looking for. Sheriff Baxter blocked you. Because when I go to YouTube, like I am now, I will put the links on your Twitter page. So I don't know if you can see that. Can you see Sheriff Baxter blocked you? There you are with your family. Is that Zachary Baxter, Kevin Baxter there? Huh? Sheriff Baxter blocked you. So that's Zachary Baxter, Kevin Baxter. What would you think if Zachary Baxter walked outside wherever Zachary Baxter lived and told a man on his tractor nobody owns the land next to his residence? And then a psychopath cop ran into the backyard of Zachary Baxter and fell down in his backyard. And Zachary Baxter walked outside and said, "What's the problem?" And there's Zachary Baxter in handcuffs being surrounded by 6 psychopath cops when all he did is tell a man on his tractor nobody owns the land next to his residence. What would you think if Kevin Baxter walked outside of where he lived and walked alongside his residence, and 2 psychopath cops came running at him, and he turned around and ran away and never stopped running, grabbed the hammer alongside his residence he used to fix his bike, and then a psychopath cop said that Kevin Baxter swung a hammer at him, and that's how he's going to be indicted for attempted felony assault, which doesn't exist. What would you think if Zachary Baxter or Kevin Baxter went to a gym, and a man stood over him, punched violently down at Zachary Baxter, Kevin Baxter? Zachary Baxter's Kevin Baxter was violently attacked. And then a police officer arrived and told either one to wait in the backseat of his vehicle. And then the man who just attacked Zachary Baxter, Kevin Baxter, said that they wanted to press charges. And that's how Zachary Baxter, Kevin Baxter are going to be charged with harassment second. Do the lives of others matter? Here, Sheriff Baxter blocked you. If what has happened to me, if all the criminal charges were the same, all the court appearances were the same, the silence of the prosecutors, if everything was the same for Zachary Baxter, Kevin Baxter, your wife, Mary Baxter, would be in a rage about it. I guarantee it. And when I talk like that, I do have to control my anger. There's no doubt about it that I have anger, and you can see it on my face and even the way I behave. Because my 50th birthday is July 4, 2015. Where I have 2 speeding tickets, as I've repeatedly said. And it doesn't matter how I've lived my life. This is why people hate the police. People hate the police because of all the names that I've mentioned here. Michael Houlihan, Don Benedetto, Andrew Reale, and Richard J Siebert, who walked into the Penfield Public Library and violently attacked me. I was evicted from my residence. I own nothing. I have nothing. My birth certificate's gone. I had a right to the New York State Department of Health for my birth certificate. I'm going to be back on here talking about you, Lee Laroque. Lee Laroque, I've said this repeatedly here. You and Paul C. Metzer decided to enter my residence. Why? What's the probable cause? I'm not going to say it. You tell me. Because it's ludicrous. Because it's ridiculous. Because it's a typical lie from Penfield Town Court and the Sheriff's Office. Lee Laroque, where's my Chromebook? Where is it? You took my Chromebook. You confiscated my Chromebook. This is an illegal search and seizure. It's no probable cause whatsoever for you, Lee Laroque, to walk into my residence, take my Chromebook. You tore my residence apart. You disgusting, sickening $98,000 hack because you got a raise from $91,000. You opened the cabinets inside my kitchen. You pulled the books out from my bookcases. You pulled the couch away from the wall on the first floor. You turned over my bed upstairs. All the drawers on my father's dresser were open that he gave me when he was a child in Brooklyn. My clothes from my spare bedroom were on the floor in the spare bedroom, including my dress greens from 17th Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division. You lost your mind in my residence. $97,000, Lee Laroque, trying to concoct the crime for me because you and $28,000 skinhead widow decided to go into my residence. Lee Laroque, corruption requires repetition. Where's my Chromebook? Did you examine a hard drive? Did you read my emails? The lunatic fringe of you 40 plus pounds overweight fat girl, taking my Chromebook out of my residence. Where is it? So I'm going to tell the Department of Justice about you. Why are you overweight, Lee Laroque? I've demanded the physical training standards from Todd Baxter, and he allows a joke like you to walk around at 40 plus pounds overweight. Do you know that the job of a sheriff's office employee or any police officer will require running? You could not run 50 yards, Lee Laroque. And Todd Baxter allows you to not be able to run 50 yards. You could not run after a true criminal and catch a true criminal, given the fact that you, Lee Laroque, are 40 pounds overweight. So, Todd Baxter, you owe me $61.39 because this is the check I had in my pocket when Richard J. Siebert attacked me. That's why it says here, County of Monroe, Officer Sheriff, Inmate Fund Account. I have an inmate fund account without a prosecutor talking in court. The sick lunatic fringe of you. Right here, I'm demanding, again, private technology you pay for it. Now, as far as my prosecutor's silence, how many times do I have to demand this? The cards come back to me. This card comes back to me. I fill this out. This is registered mail return receipt. I'm looking for the UPS that's next to me. Everything I'm holding in my hand, this is how many times I've demanded from you, Sandra Doyle, and you, Perry Duckles, the names of my prosecutors. And you're refusing because you're corrupt. So this is registered mail return receipt of different ways I communicate with you because the post office is not open on Sundays, and sometimes I just like to walk over there to Park Avenue. I really like it over there. And when I go over there, this is what I have in my hand. I'm going to write this down. I hope to write 500,000 words. I'm going to make copies of all this where it can be seen. This UPS I have in my hand here, this registered mail returns, this is how ridiculous I look. This is how many times I'm demanding you could disclose the names of my prosecutors for 18 months. I believe that if the Attorney General Merrick Garland called you, Sandra Doyle, and told you to disclose my prosecutors, the names and identify my prosecutors' silence, you would refuse. That would never happen. But I believe hypothetically if you did, you would still refuse. I'll give you a middle finger to everyone around you, Sandra Doyle. because you're corrupt. You will never know why you're corrupt, even though I'm telling you over and over and over. Prosecutors talk in court and make an argument against the accused. That's the way it works in the United States of America. That's the way it's never worked for me. You're just presenting me in front of these disgusting, sickening, corrupt judges, John P. Lomenzo Jr., Paul C. Metz, and Alex Renzi, to have me guilty. I'm guilty as an innocent man before I even walk in the door. How do you explain this to the Department of Justice? Todd Baxter was blocking me on Twitter. I laughed. It was a true laugh out loud when I'm trying to go to your Twitter page, because what I would do is I would take your YouTube and I'd post it to your Twitter, hoping that your employees, your Jonestown Kool-Aid drinkers who want to see you on Twitter, will click on the YouTube link, and there you are blocking me. So here we have January 13th, 2023, Sandra Dory, Todd Baxter, where I say, resign. And this is copy to Trini Ross, the United States Attorney, Western District of New York, Paul C. Metz, James P. Jr., and Mark Phillips of Green and Harper, the Public Defender's Office. And here it says right here, this is January 11th. Comply with the attached PDF dated January 10, 2023, that is 72 Freedom of Information Law documents. This includes identification by prosecutor's silence. Mail the information I demand to the address on a form, and you refused. This specifically precisely is why you're corrupt. YouTube rejection. Todd Baxter, Sandra Doyle, Alex Renzi, YouTube accountability. It's rejection because you're rejecting my 72 foils. Freedom of information law. Information you're refusing every time. Or you're picking and choosing what you think is compliance, which is not going to embarrass and humiliate you. I'm trying to embarrass and humiliate you at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office by forcing you to disclose information. So rejection, accountability. Accountability again here. And this is January 5th. Now, I use it Gmail here. I use Proton Mail. Proton Mail, you can have unlimited recipients. That's why I use it. This is Proton Mail on January 5th. This is accountability. This is everybody's name for the sheriff's office, where it says on January 5th, where you have it. And also, I mailed this to you. So on January 5th, I'm communicating with you using Proton Mail where you can get it. And for somehow you block me, you blow me off, it arrives at your office where either you sign for it or it's tracked by UPS. Which happened. So I have multiple ways I'm communicating with you via email and UPS or registered mail return receipt, where this is what I demanded on January 5th. Comply with the attached PDF dated January 5th, 2023, that is 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive at your offices via United Postal Service tomorrow. Mail the information I demand to my address below in Rochester. This includes the names of my prosecutor's silence. This is why you're corrupt, Sandra, because you looked at this, if in fact you did. If you looked at the Freedom of Information Law, and you see I'm demanding my names, my prosecutor's silence, which I read from last month. You refused, and this is why you're corrupt. And then here I have on January 3rd. So on January 3rd here is Psychopaths Incorporated up here. Comply with the attached PDF dated January 3rd, 2023, that is 66 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive at your offices tomorrow via United Postal Service. This is called amoral. Todd Baxter, Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi. You know why it's called amoral? Because you're amoral at the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office. And this is you, Perry Duckles, January 1. This is why you're corrupt. Language requires precision. If I'm going to call a assistant district attorney, a public official anywhere in the United States of America, corrupt, I already told you why. I'm telling you, Perry Duckles, right here, disclose the names of my prosecutors, and you're refusing. This is called 61, because I had 61 Freedom of Information Law documents in here. This is on December 22nd, same thing. It's called hatred. That's probably the most perfect description of you at the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office. When Richard J. Siebert slams his arm at the side of my head, and I fall down, and my head hits the ceramic tile, that's hatred from Richard J. Siebert. You pay $74,000 to violently attack me, and when I write the criminal complaint about him, it's a real crime upon me, an assault. Nothing's going to happen to Richard J. Siebert. He won't be fired. He won't be arrested. He's certainly not going to spend 5 seconds in jail. And then again, 3 more. All 3 times here, and I included, this is on November 28th, I demanded the names of my prosecutor's silence. These are different links with different names in it. Every single time is a Freedom of Information Law here for this YouTube link. YouTube, corruptible. Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi. YouTube, delusion and denial. Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi. YouTube, 0. Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doyle, Judge Alex Renzi. I called it 0 because I'm telling you that of the 66 I have here, it's going to be zero. And it was. Every single time you dated November 28th, where these links are here, I'm telling you on every single one of these YouTubes, disclose the names of my prosecutors, silence, and you refused every time. So I hope to be on YouTube Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I possibly could be on YouTube all 5 days a week because I have to buy new phones to create new Gmail accounts. And that's money. I have to budget my money. But I will be on here, I hope, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, at least 3 times in the next 7 days, where I'm going to demand more information from you. I specifically demand you disclose the names of my prosecutors' silence so I can begin the process to spar each. How am I in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk to court statutorily? How do you answer that question? You don't think you have to answer anything from citizens in Monroe County because you're corrupt. How am I being violently attacked, Todd Baxter, by your psychopaths like Richard J Siebert, who follow me around for the express purpose of violently attacking me, and you don't give a damn about it because you're corrupt? So, Sheriff Baxter has blocked you. I'm going to make a copy of this. I'm going to send this to the United States Department of Justice. And I hope they laugh at you, Todd Baxter, who doesn't know if he's a Republican or Democrat. I have never committed a crime. I will continue to be in relentless contact with you at the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office, and I'm specifically demanding that you disclose the names of my prosecutors' silence, and you will continue to refuse District Attorney Sandra Dorley because you're corrupt. My name is Christopher Chichester. I'm an innocent man.